Kickstarter, where dreams and imagination go to fuck each other on huge piles of crowdfunded cash, where aspiring creators go to blow the mighty horn of summoning and rally their faithful, spurring their collective wallets in a thundering foray of unified spending. It's also full of scams and funded projects that fail to meet promises. Ever since Kickstarter and other similar crowdfunding sites came to be, they've been both the target of endless praise and mounting criticism. At this point in time, there's not too many people left who don't have some opinion on crowdfunding. Depending on who you may ask, it's either a wonderful thing that brings a collectively desired product into fruition, or it's a platform for scam artists, or it's a shameful way for creators to e-beg for money that they should be raising themselves. I never got that third one myself. Some people, usually who are full of bullshit, will make self-moralizing shitposts about how using crowdsourcing is all smarmy and irresponsible, and content developers should find money for themselves like everyone else. As if going to your fan communities is any really different from going to private investors, aside from the fact that you are now working for your fans instead of profit-focused third-party investors. But forget all that. For all its glory, it seems that these days you can't take a piss on the internet without soaking your urine into yet another damning article of a Kickstarter scam or a project that received 400% funding goals and still failed to deliver. Campaigners using their money to buy new houses or cars or take expensive trips, or drawing out promised release dates for months or years or indefinite periods of time. Allegations and rumors of this and that and the other, and they're certainly not unfounded. Since everyone watching any videos I make is an idiot, let me drop it down to your level and remind you of travesties like the total failure of the recent Yogscast video game Kickstarter, or that "We Promise It's On The Way Guys" Homestuck video game, or like the other 20 fucking billion botched Kickstarters that were about goddamn video games. It's almost like you just can't trust anyone on Kickstarter. Scam artists or inept campaigners seem to be the constant and unavoidable plague. Hell, there's tons of videos on YouTube of twats going on about the top 10 shit Kickstarters and top 37 Kickstarter scams and all that muck. But surely Kickstarter has some kind of contingency plans of some form, right? Campaigners are under some kind of legal obligation to complete content, right? They wouldn't just let people waste the money they were given, right? Well, if you have any questions or concerns about the rules and regulations of Kickstarter, sit down and let old Unky Asshole tell you all about it. First, let's address the commonly posed question, but aren't campaigners under a legal obligation to fulfill promises? The short answer to this is no. The long answer to this is no, repeated several dozen times. Taken from Kickstarter's official FAQ is the following. What is a creator obligated to do once their project is funded? When a project is successfully funded, the creator is responsible for completing the project and fulfilling each reward. Their fundamental obligation to backers is to finish all the work that was promised. Once a creator has done so, they've fulfilled their obligation to their backers. At the same time, backers must understand that Kickstarter is not a store. When you back a project, you're helping to create something new, elongated hyphen, not ordering something that already exists. There's a chance something could happen that prevents the creator from being able to finish the project as promised. If a creator is absolutely unable to complete the project and fulfill rewards, they must take every reasonable effort to find another way of bringing the project to a satisfying conclusion for their backers. For more information, see this hyperlink. Essentially, what they're saying is that you're not under any contract or legal scrutiny to do a damn thing. As they say in their own FAQ, there's a chance the product may never materialize. Of course, Kickstarter avoids flat out saying that. Bluntly put, there's nothing stopping campaigners from scamming you or fucking up with your money. But that's about how it is. But wait, what about scamming? Surely that's illegal. Well, you're right. Scamming is a thing that is illegal, and there have been a couple of cases of crowdfunding scams getting unveiled and their perpetrators prosecuted. Such as in the case of one of the earliest major Kickstarter scams, the Kobe beef incident, where a group of outed scam artists attempted to fool people into funding their fake Kickstarter drive for some weeaboo as fuck beef jerky. As this tale goes, a group of people making some shitty documentary at the time about successful Kickstarter campaigns attempted to get into contact with Magnus Fun Inc., the company behind the campaign project. As the campaign was nearly about to reach a hyper-over-successful goal, the documentary wanted to do a piece on them. However, when attempts at getting a hold of them ended up falling through and Magnus Fun advertised on their Kickstarter page that they were to be featured in the upcoming documentary, the docu-fuckers did a little sleuthing. What they ended up finding out was that in only a few days prior to the project's fund drive ending, Magnus Fun had pretty much deleted everything, from their website down to their emails and company records. In the end, one of the guys behind it all got slapped with a fine, but it was ultimately just for violating some forms when he filed fraudulent business information, so it doesn't even fucking count, really. The problem with legally monitoring crowdfucking is that so much of it is really fucking hard to pin down, in a legal setting at least, so long as the guy behind the scam keeps insisting he truly meant to go through with the project to the best of his ability, and there's no evidence of him inexplicably saying, yeah, it was a scam, they can't really hit him with much. Scams in general can be a very difficult thing to legally prosecute because you have to prove without reasonable doubt that it was indeed a scam. Throw in the fact that crowdfunding is done over the internet, and it just gets even messier. One of the most infamous Kickstarter scams that ended up ultimately failing was a campaign under the name Dark Skies, which was what else but a fucking My Little Pony dating simulator. It was all masterminded by some guy who got some retard who was famous in the My Little Pony erotic art world and pretty much spun together some legitimate looking trailers and assets, all promising backers a sweet, sweet romantic bliss adventure with the My Little Pony knockoff of their choice. Honestly, it was fucking ingenious. Why didn't I think of this? Fuck. He'd gotten away with it too, but he ended up blabbing on Facebook about how he couldn't believe the scam was working, like a fucking moron. Of course, word of this leaked out, backers got scared off, and the funding ultimately fell short. What a dumbass. I guess for all you aspiring scam artists out there, let this be a lesson of caution that when you're attempting to scam people, try not to tell them it's a scam. Basically put, there's nothing outside a moral obligation preventing someone from committing a scam over Kickstarter. For instance, I could, say, make a campaign for, I don't know, Alfie Allen dildos. You might think, Alfie Allen dildos? Oh boy, that's for me, and fund my campaign along with 1,000 other retards. Once I get the money, I have no obligation to even begin work on what I promised. I could just buy a new house or something and then say, oops, sorry fellas, project fell through, these things happen, get off my lawn. That is, if I decide to say anything at all. This is just the nature of what crowdfunding is. As the years go by and more scams or fall-apart projects get brought into the public eye and skepticism and mistrust grow only stronger, major crowdfunding platforms have tightened their rules and regulations ever so slightly to at least make it a little more difficult to pass scams off. With all this said, you might be wondering, how do I avoid this? Should I just not use Kickstarter? Well, to answer your questions, ultimately, you really can't totally avoid this. If you ever, even just one time, fund a campaign, there's a very real risk that, for whatever reason, you'll never see what you funded. Either because it was a scam, or it fell through, or it just stewed in vaporware hell for all eternity. But that's not to say you should just stop using Kickstarter. Crowdfunding is really a great thing. I don't use it myself, and I never will, but I see the obvious benefits and positive traits in it. Like I said before, it gives legitimate campaigners a real face-to-face relationship with their fans and communities, and the content developers get to work free from outside investors breathing down their necks. For every failed or fraudulent Kickstarter, there's 100 or more that are total successes that please their funders. If you're thinking about funding a campaign, research it. We live in a world where almost all the information we need is a simple Google click away, and yet these days, we're more entitled to information than ever. Yeah, like, how dare I have to fucking Google a video game before I think about buying it? Who the fuck do you think I am, bub? Look into the project you're thinking of supporting, and more than that, look into the campaigner. Pay attention to their goals and promises and their plan to bring those to fruition. If you're going to do your own campaign, have a fucking plan. Detail intricately your course for getting what you promise out the door. Not just for your potential backers, but for yourself as well. A lot of people rush off to Dick Sucker to get cash for their plan, and then once they have it, they find out that all too late, wouldn't you know it, money doesn't equal progress. Remember that you can have all the money in the world, and that doesn't mean you'll ever complete your project. Money is simply another resource, just like time, energy, and skill is. It's not the secret ingredient to instantly bringing your shitty project to life. And above all, keep in mind that everyone has a responsibility. As a backer, you have more responsibility than just tossing money at a project. Just because you funded it doesn't mean jack shit. As a campaigner, you have a responsibility to plot yourself out and have a good, clear plan at what you're going to do with other people's money. Research, plan, stay smart, and go with the self-realization that sometimes you might make a mistake somewhere. Also seriously, if you're going to scam over Kickstarter, do not fucking tell people on Facebook what you're doing, you stupid fucking clod.